some 29 minutes after 7. My guest is seated. Mr. John Boydu is the acting general secretary of the New Patriotic Party. He is the national organizer of the party, and we know by now that he's going for the general secretary position pretty soon. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Am I telling your story, you know, like the way you're looking at me?
You almost told it.
Ah, okay. Is it the national chairmanship or the general secretary position that you're going for?
I'm currently the national organizer of the party,
yes.
And I have been acting as the general secretary for the party almost for the past 2 years. In a run-up leading to the elections, you know what happened, and National Executive Committee found it necessary to ask me to add additional responsibilities to my work as national organizer. In addition to that, the campaign team itself made me a director of operations for the campaign. We are still helping government to survive, helping government to be on its feet in order to ensure that the promises that we give to the Ghanaian people are realized, considering the constraints that we met. And I think that so far I can honestly say so good.
Okay, but a bet said that you were enjoying the general secretary position so well that you want to take it up as a substantive post.
It is stressing me so much because it's an added responsibility. Maybe it's because of that if National Council approves the committee that we set to look at the proposal for amendments, we call for an extraordinary conference and delegates approve what our constitution is and allow the National Council to bring a roadmap for elections across the structures of the party, starting from polling station, electoral area, constituency, region. When we get to national, I will opt for the general secretary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
What is it about that position? I hear it's very powerful. For instance, you do have the reports, the findings of how and why you won the elections, and it's in only your care.
Yes and no. It's powerful and becomes more valuable to your party when you manage it well. It's like chief executive officer of any organization. Ours is a political party, so the running of it is different. Here, when you want to see your chief executive, it takes you months to do so.
No, really.
You need an appointment to do so. In our case, if you dare introduce appointment as a basis for seeing your general secretary, it will be a different story altogether. You are combining administration of the party. You are managing the communication of the party. You are almost a spokesperson of the party. You are also in charge of operations of the party, making sure that all the wings and operational activities of the party is functional. You are coordinating the activities of the external branches of your party to make sure that they function and are delivering to the set objectives given them. You are almost responsible for the day-to-day running in the absence of a steering committee. So steering committee, National Executive Committee, National Council, even National Delegates Conference takes the decision, and you are responsible for making sure that these decisions are realized. That makes it the way you look at it. But in doing so, it calls for someone who is humble, someone who understands the process, someone who is strategic to be able to merge all these organs of the party in order to ensure that there is peace, tranquility, and also provide a backbone for government to deliver. You understand? Government is delivering what the New Patriotic Party promised the people of this country. So it is our responsibility to make sure that government delivers as promised.
Okay.
So you merge the party organization with government's implementation and delivery, and be drawing government's attention to its ministers, its appointed officers, and making sure that they are all working in line to the set objective.
Okay. You know, it's interesting you said so far so good in your opening remarks, but the youth in your party are not particularly excited, and we've seen some of them. In fact, you're in the news today. I think the Chronicle newspaper, another newspaper, is reporting of some rampaging youth in Adeso. There's the one in the Chronicle, I'm not sure exactly where, but last week, and I'm sure that you're aware because this is your party, so you know what the young people in the party are doing in Karaga, in Tamale, with the school feeding program. There's an impeachment, possibly, process with the Tamale MCA, for instance. What did you tell them? Why are they suddenly, you know, everybody up in arms, if you like? What did you tell them? You're not fulfilling the promises you made to them.
You are merging a lot of issues together and putting the blame on the youth. For instance, if there's an impeachment process against the Tamale mayor, so to speak, what has that got to do with the youth? That's nothing to do with the youth.
Okay, so
if there are issues about school feeding program, how many of the youth are engaged in school feeding programs? They are not.
But when we hear that young people have gathered themselves and gone to lock up a secretariat.
Let me even go further. The definition of youth is in our party is members of our party who are below the age of 40. If you look at the footage, you realize that there are people who are above that. I'm only pointing out to you that sometimes we put some of these things together and blame wrong people.
Okay, so I take it that it's not necessarily young people who are involved in this.
Having said that, yes, as a party in government, the relationship between the party grassroots, the party executives, appointees of government, has been a major cause of difficulty in managing. Not now. We've been in government before, and program upon program that we hold, especially in trying to cement the relationship and bring in control and making sure that they work together. Almost all the time, the report we receive amongst these organizations that are expected to work together becomes very difficult. So you realize that the causes of these things are as a result of MMDC not relating very well with the party structures, or the party structures think that since they are in power, everything, the state machinery must be determined by them. In terms of appointments, people are looking beyond just competence. And it is easy to be saying, oh, you need to have competent people. Assuming you are appointing 5 people in a diverse tribal mix like Northern region, for instance, and you have 5 of them very competent, very effective, experienced, and they are all, say, Dagombes. You will say, oh, appoint them, because what's the point? But the political dynamics on the ground will not support that. So you need to go beyond just competence, experience, and also be looking at the ethnic mix. So if an appointee fails to do that, it is also the responsibility of the members of the party to draw the attention of government or party to such an anomaly. It is worthy to note that in doing so, one must not take the law of this country into its own hands.
But apparently that is what is happening.
Yes, it is important. That's why at least the honeymoon period is over. Initially, when people didn't understand this relationship, we've taken it even upon ourselves. Thankfully, we even had the president sitting in a meeting that brought together MMDCs, government appointees, ministers, MPs, and the whole party structure, taking them through how to relate and the limits that each and every one of them has in order to ensure that they work together.
So why is that not
group.
reflecting necessarily on the ground?
It is reflecting. Only that once in a while. You understand? Obviously, you can't say
this one is not once in a while.
It's once in a while because you can mention them.
Week.
No, you can mention them. For the past 4 months, you've not heard anything. So if the past week 1 or 2 constituencies in the north had experiences, I would have wished that it never occurred. And I want to state, and I'm stating it as a matter of importance to us as a party and to us as government. The president is outraged about it, and we still want to insist that our law enforcement agencies must work to ensure that these things does not occur at all. And I think that it is something. I don't want to compare the New Patriotic Party with the National Democratic Congress, you understand? Because the examples are set so bad that if you want to do that comparison, you always be happy that you are doing well, you understand? Because we've seen this in this country before. Party operatives takes over government institution, lock up things. Nobody does anything. We've never heard.
Isn't that in the early stages of the transition?
No,
that's when
it wasn't.
We usually see some of these things.
Even to the extent that in 2006, when we're doing the limited registration exercise in Asutifi, Asunafu, you heard it. Collins Dowda's brother. He takes over the running of everything to the extent that police must be bowing to him. Ransack everything of government property, nothing is done. So beats up people. That's why I said.
So you're saying that this is better, is it?
I'm not saying even it's better. It shouldn't have occurred at all. And I don't want to use bad examples to justify even wrongdoing, even if it is better. You understand? But it is an improvement on our system. It is an improvement. Now the decisions that are being taken, especially allowing our law enforcement agencies to act in a timeous manner, will serve as a deterrent to other people who want to use violence as a basis of resolving their issues. They will realize they will realize that the party is not tolerating it, government is not tolerating it. So you use civil means to address and redress some of these occurrences that's in running a government. Obviously, you have some of them occurring.
Do you have a hold on these areas where we've reported some of these incidents?
Yes, we do. You can see that behind the scenes, we've done a lot of work. Last weekend, we had some stakeholder consultations and meetings. We've sent out teams of people of repute from the region to work at it. And very soon you'll see that the occurrence of it will be minimized entirely, if not.
So in the meantime, is the party punishing, for instance, if we take Karaga, the party chairman, I mean, is there any sanctions? What are you doing to those who've clearly gone against the rules?
Now, he was invited by the police. I think he was given bail. We don't want to be doing both at the same time. We are, because sometimes what you hear in the media may not be the reason. The reason for such occurrence you will not know. And the media,
at least we heard from the secretary of the party. He was an Ekosi saying, and he said it in his own words. It's all about some people not eating. Some people are eating, others are not eating.
When we talk of eating, I think literally you look at it from that. But if you're talking about eating, it's about influence. It's about massaging the egos of people. It's about ensuring that consultation in decision making is done. That's the essence of what he said. That, for instance, if you are appointing, let's say, 20, 30 people as part of the youth employment program, and that authority or mandate is given to the youth employment coordinator, he must realize that you have stakeholders in the community, the chiefs and people in the place, the MPs in the place, the constituency in the place, and the elders of the place need to be consulted.
What should the form of the consultation take? Because I'm wondering, you are a coordinator in that area, and you are supposed to be employing so and so numbers, and you have a criteria for the selection.
The criteria must be made known to these stakeholders I've mentioned. You understand? The criteria, maybe you must have SS certificates, you must, depending on which of the areas that the person is going to be employed, whether it is youth insecurity, whether it is youth in health or something, must have that background, you understand? So you go further. Well, most often you realize that even people who are stakeholders in the council may not even know the criteria or may not even be aware.
Is this coordinator? Are we expecting that he would consult with the NDC as well, or only because it is his party that is in government?
The coordinator that knows his work will consult broadly. You understand? Will seek advice broadly and understands the dynamics on the ground in the constituency. And I can assure you, most of the things that we do, if you go to Parliament, in terms of consultation, it goes beyond just what you see on camera. You understand? Opportunities are given to both sides in order to ensure that they themselves become part of the implementation process, so as for them to also have experience in what is being done, so that they will not be reading like you and I of things that happen. And it goes on.
So in that regard, are your appointees failing then? Have they failed?
You are talking about close to 216 appointees if you are limiting it to MMDCs, and you were able to mention 2-3 places, and even it's an occurrence that could have been avoided, and we've taken measures to make sure that such occurrences will not occur again. Especially even if it occurs, it should not take the form that it took by party people or members. Well, if you are not very careful, the very good things that government is doing, if you look at the week under review, it is the week that the president launched this address system. It is the week that he has to rush to Niger for ECOWAS meeting. It is the week that he went to Asin Fosu to open, I think there was something with immigration. It is a week that he visited the people of Crop, just within the week, if you understand. And these are positives that the government, led by the president, is talking. You come in with this, then deviate and change the narrative. As I sit here, I've spent almost about 15 minutes or half of my time talking about these things, instead of me to be talking about what government is doing. If you also open the can, you get our opponents joining you. So you realize that you want to go and demonstrate. You have about 80% of the demonstrators being your opponents. You've opened the can, you understand? So it is something that I think our party people must be mindful of. We at the party level will not hesitate to sanction any party member that does things that go beyond or take the law into his hands. And this one, we are not compromising on it at all.
Your youth organizer, Samioko, said something on Newsfile last Saturday that the police inactions essentially is breaking the hearts of the presidents. I wonder what you think of that. Is the police failing us? Is the police failing your government?
Normally, it must not take the president to call on the security agency to act in the face of breaches of the law. You understand? So to the extent that the president has to come in, other people have to call on them, I think that it is a reawakening for them as well. They've seen systems in place where party people take the law into their own hands, and they are virtually their hands are tied at the back, because some of them, in even some cases, they are beaten and nothing is done. But the police is beaten to the pulp and nothing is done. Their superiors cannot take action. I think that, and it is for that reason that any attempt to discuss youth mob and security by the youth of political parties, one needs to also go further to encourage our security agencies to be strengthened for them to take action in most of these things. Because I have experienced that. I have gone through a process where we virtually realized that it was difficult for us to have the feeling that the security agencies are there to protect us. As a result, we also have to make sure that we are protected. Because the first form of protection is ourselves. You understand? And I had an experience like that. If I had not gone to those places with supporters of ours, with young men and women of ours, it would have been a different story altogether. It shouldn't get there because it creates all kinds of, well, it gets to a point that you have to be in government before you feel you are safe. I don't think that this country where we fought from and where we are should get there. And Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will make sure, and the New Patriotic Party will make sure that narrative is changed.
Should we begin to see some changes in the police force in terms of leadership?
That one is not our job. And I think that they themselves, seeing what is going on, if there is a need to see some change, I think not too long ago there were some few changes that they did. That one I think should be left to them.
Because if the president keeps reminding them that this is your job, if somebody is doing something, it really doesn't matter what party the person belongs to, take action.
I don't think.
And we see them still not taking enough action.
I don't think it's often. I don't think it's often.
You don't think it's often that the president has had to remind them?
Yeah, I don't think it's often.
But still, I mean, even if it's twice,
even if it is once, it's okay. It's enough for them to step up their game. I believe that in collaboration with also getting our youthful people or our party people to understand the boundaries of party activities vis-a-vis government activities is helpful. I think that this is something that if we discuss it the way we are discussing it and not play politics with it, it's helpful. It helps everybody to understand that we are not going to allow that. I think that we can move forward.
Yes, we can. I just want to ask, how is the Tamale mayor issue being resolved?
Well, so far what I know, I've been reading because, you know, these assemblies are independent institutions on their own until they bring it forward through the local government system that we also have information about it. Members of the assembly petition for the impeachment of their mayor. And I think that the process is there until they withdraw their application. They'll go through the process. But
the party is not intervening.
From the responses that we've heard from the mayor, I think that, well, we should take it as an attempt, maybe not in futility, but an attempt to also ensure that his attention is drawn to certain things that may not go well with the citizens. It is so in all developmental processes. People who want to see change sometimes, depending on how they do it, may trample on a lot of people, may end up stepping on a lot of toes, depending on how it is done. I think that may be the causes of that. Because from what we've seen as the basis for the petition, I think that we should be able to resolve those things. Yeah.
So what's in your election review reports?
Election review reports. Election reviews are done all the time by political, especially by us. You remember we came out with the stolen verdict after 1992 elections. In 1996, we came out with the bought verdict. In 2000, we won. Even that, we did a review to look at what went on. 2004, we won. We did a review. 2008, we lost. Dr. Herman's report, I was a member of that committee, look at the entire party structure and what went on and all that. You can even look at the NDC. They've done their reports, Kwesi Botche, the recent ones.
There's a lot of pressure on them to make it public.
Yeah. Are they going to make it public?
Are you going to make yours public?
No, it's not supposed to be a public document. It is not supposed, even in the party. That's why I'm intrigued in some of the responses that some of their members are giving. How can you refer to a document as fake if you don't know the original? You don't have access to the original. So those making noise, it's fake, it's fake. On what basis are they saying it's fake?
Well, we've had members of the committee, the original committee that put together the document, for instance.
Sometimes
Vigilante van der Poel say that what is out there is fake.
He doesn't even know. For instance, in our case, let me tell you, this committee was put together. The committee members sat down, went through the motions, came out, finally agreed on what the report should be. Even members of the committee may not have copies of the reports. They end up giving the reports depending on the arrangement, maybe to the General Secretary. At the National Council, the committee that formed that committee, members will not be given reports one by one. Depending on what arrangement they will do. For instance, in our case, we even let the person or the committee to come and even report to us. We have the report, we summarize for them, and it ends there.
So how many copies do you have then?
You'll be given one. And you need to.
So there's only one existing.
Depending on, I'm talking about New Patriotic Party.
Yes. So yours is just one. How many pages?
I'm talking about New Patriotic Party.
New Patriotic Party, sure. How many pages?
It's close to. I can't say exactly, but it's a bit voluminous.
The NDC's own is over 400.
Over 400
yes.
pages. Because they had a lot of issues, and these issues are not new for me.
So yours is not up to 400, I take it?
No, it can't be for more than 400. No.
Is there an executive summary of the original document? How many people have the executive summary?
You see, how many?
How many people have the executive summary?
The executive summary is contained in the document itself. So it is not a separate document. It's one document. You see, one thing is that, you see, running a political party is very complex. Managing the processes is also complex, that you need to understand what it takes to do so. Because if you are not very careful, in your bid to be transparent, you end up demoralizing your party people on the ground. For instance, there's this allegation about Ofusu Ampofo, that he was given 1 million to be taken to, I think, the Eastern region. The regional chairman says he received only 15,000. The difference is huge. It is possible that it was written that he was to be given 1 million, but only 30,000 was given. He also gave 50. You see,
you have similar examples in your own party as you went around?
Possibly. Sometimes there's vast difference as you move on in running political party. Let me give you a typical example.
From yours, as contained in your reports.
A typical example.
Because what we've heard out there, the example you gave, they say it's fake.
Who says it's fake? The person who collected 15,000 said that he collected 15,000.
But the news about the fact that he was given $1 million.
The typical example, for instance, you have 47 constituencies in Ashanti region. Then resources meant, especially for polling agents and their feeding and all that. The chairman says that he received only about 16 constituencies. This normally happens if party structure breaks down, if the executives are not strong enough to make governments to know their limits in the running of the party, and resources are concentrated in the hands of government appointees, brothers of presidents, wives of presidents.
So that didn't happen in your own party.
You end up getting the examples we are seeing. We've gone through.
But don't you have similar examples?
I'm not judging them. I'm only telling you what happens.
But I want to know what is in yours. I want to know what is in yours, because we've heard about what is in the NDC's report, which greatly they are denying. But what are your own highlights? What won you the election, for instance?
There's no point in denying anything, because all these are true.
Was there true disunity in your party prior to the elections?
Obviously, if you remember in the run-up, especially a year before elections, we had difficulties and challenges in our party.
So what was that one thing that worked for the NPP?
It's concentrating on what is important, concentrating on the goal and objective of the party, making sure that where it matters most at the polling station is well-resourced, well-trained, resources go there timeously, and making sure that we have efficient system of transmission information, and that made the difference. We also did a lot of targeting, and that one we can discuss later.
So what's that outstanding thing in that document?
I think we are doing general discussion. We are there, because even having it in my bosom does not allow me to speak to it. I need to present it because it was given to me through me to National Council. You understand? So when we get to National Council.
So it's not going to be made public?
No, that one is not.
We won't see media houses serializing from that document.
I've told you number of reviews that we've done over the years that we've never had access to it, because we understand the dangers involved. So in managing those documents, it's critical. So we put it in the hands of people who are capable of managing it. And over the years, we are happy to say that we've had general secretaries who understand the process, who have been able to protect these documents, and you've never had. It is not that there's something so criminal about you seeing it, because if you are not very careful, names of people are mentioned. They may not even have the opportunity to even validate some of the things that are being said about them. They won't even have the opportunity, if it gets out in the hands of wrong people, in the hands of people who are not supposed.
But were names mentioned?
In the NDC's case.
In yours?
Obviously,
you're General Secretary of the NPP, not the NDC. I'm wondering why you're interested in citing the NDC
not on
in
the
your...
table. You see,
but you know what is in yours.
I'm only giving you examples and things.
One name mentioned in yours as well.
We are lucky we have before us that of the NDC. You understand?
We don't have before us.
Open for us
but you know, just before we wrap up, the people the executives that went on suspension, when would we see them come back? For instance, is Kwabena Japan coming back as General Secretary of the party? Would we see Paul Afoko come back as Chairman of the party? When?
That will depend, because they were given indefinite suspension by the disciplinary committee, endorsed and ratified by the National Executive and National Council. These are the bodies that have the authority to determine whether they are lifting the suspension. I don't have.
Recently, the Kwabena Japan's name, you know, and the issue about his reinstatement came up very strongly. I don't know from where, but has the party talked about it in any way? Has that conversation come up?
No.
Okay. So that conversation has not been resurrected, if you like?
No.
Would we see them ever come back, really, before your next Congress?
I mean, it's possible it can come up. You know, it's possible. But when we meet as National Executive or National Council, these issues, if it's an issue really, can be discussed.
Is it an issue?
Well, depending on how you look at it. But the concentration of party people is one. You see, our mandate is to win victory or win power. And even as they were on suspension, we've done so. You understand? On their behalf.
So they're not useful to the party then?
Oh no, why are you saying so?
Well, I mean, the ultimate goal is to win an election. So if we can win it without the two of you, then really, why do we need you?
No, it doesn't mean that. There are a lot of people that help us to win that you don't know them. You have the imams, the
but these particular two people, they contribute to your winning.
They may have done things on their own. You understand?
To contribute to the win.
They may have.
Okay. Do you believe that?
Not that I know as a person. But I'm saying that since they continue to be members of the party, They may have, because lots of people, we had close to 5 point something million.
I understand.
See,
My interest is just in these two, these two people. Can you continue to suspend them forever? I mean, wasn't it supposed to be punishment? You know, you kind of you lift the ban at some point, don't you?
It's supposed to be indefinite suspension, and the word is indefinite. You
understand?
Right. So I don't think we need to bother so much about what it is. Okay. I'm saying that the contribution of everybody cannot be known by everybody. You understand? So insofar as they remain as members of the party, they may have contributed. Sometimes even if you contribute negative, it helps us to put us on our feet and on our toes to act in a manner that we wouldn't have acted. You understand? So some of these things are all put together and summed up as that our mandate in Tamale was to make Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo the president of the Republic of Ghana and get majority in parliament. And we've had overwhelming majority.
Without Polafoko and Kwabena Japan. Thank you so much for your time.
and also, for the first time, an opposition political party and opposition presidential candidate had won in the first round very comfortably. But we're not in a comfortable lead. We won comfortably.
Without Kwabena Japan Polafoko. Thank you so much for your time this morning. John Bredu has been my guest. He's the acting general secretary of the NPP. Hopefully, we'll soon see him as, you know, the substantive general secretary. Stay with us. We've got other conversations to have. First, we want to talk about the Israel-Ghana week. They've had lots of activities to mark the week. There's a fashion show that's coming up. But we're talking about all of that and more.
It's a wonderful country.
Yes.
I've been there, and some of the stories that we hear from afar, you may think that it's a place that is constantly at war at itself. I went there, and the kind of development you see around, the kind of human capacity. The difference is human capacity. In all these analysis and discussion, the difference is human capacity, and it's a wonderful country. If
Please
I have
take
time,
me the next time you're going.
What's it? Oh no, it's very good. It's very, especially if you're a Christian. Most of these stories that you've heard, you can validate it.
Okay.
And it comes to you as real meaning. It gives you the real understanding of the birth of Christ and the death of Christ.
Okay. All right. Today we're talking fashion, we're talking the arts, lots of Israel on the show this morning. Stay with us. Thank you.